Hello, we are learning Pytest and its application. In the last video, we learned what is automated testing, application of Pytest in automated testing. In this video, we will see how to use Pytest. Let's start by understanding some definition. First is, we need to know what is assertion. Simple English dictionary meaning of assertion is a statement that says you strongly believe that something is true. So let's understand what is assertion in Python programming. In programming, assertion is a way of telling your program to test whether a condition is true or false. Now, how do you use assertion in Python? In Python, we have a keyword assert. So basically, you will have a test condition, and if the condition is true, you will say assert true, and if it is assert true, the program will simply move to the next line. Because the condition is true, it will continue execution. The program will not stop. If the condition is false, the program will throw an error, and the error will be assertion error, and it will stop. How do you install Pytest? You can install Pytest by writing pip3 install Pytest. For example, if I write this syntax here, pip3 install Pytest, I have this module already installed. So it will say requirement is already satisfied. Anyways, let's continue while the installation happens in the background on the terminal. Okay. Why is Pytest used? As we discussed, Pytest is used for automated testing. And when you are testing some software application, you want to test a functionality. If the functionality is working properly, in that case, the condition will be true, which means the program should continue moving and it should continue running. However, if the condition, the functionality is not working properly, in that case, the program should say that the condition is not met and it should throw an error. And this is exactly what a Pytest module would do. Here, as you can see, it says requirement already satisfied. In my case, at the bottom, the installation was already done. So, okay. Now, how do you write a Pytest code? First, before giving practical examples, these are two simple examples which are not practical. These are like just to explain the usage of the keyword assert. These are not practical applications. I'm not going to disappoint you. I'm going to take a practical application also. Okay. So kindly be in the flow. First of all, let's understand how we use the assert keyword. Whenever you write a Pytest, you definitely have to import the Pytest module. And then you have to create a function. For example, this is my Python file, pytest example1.py. In this Python file, I will write many test cases. These are two dummy test cases, which is just for basic examples. So we import a Pytest. The functions which you write for testing purpose should have the word test in it. Okay, you can give that word anyway like this also, Pytest underscore 1. The word test should be there. As you can see, this function does nothing. It simply says assert. Okay. Then there is another function. Here again we have assert 10 equal to 10. The condition 10 equal to 10 is true. So assert will be true. There is a print statement. Because the condition is true, this print statement would appear. Then there is another condition, assert 10 not equal to 10. Whenever the assert is false, it will throw an assertion error and the program will stop. Basically, this function will stop, and as a result, this print will not get executed. You can also write a statement, basically a string message, assert 10 anything not equal to 10 is false. Any message I can write here. Once again, let me tell you, these are basic examples just to understand the assert word. And here, if the condition is false, only then this will show up in your output. This print will not work because the previous condition assert is false. Okay, let's go ahead, execute this code. So the way to execute the code is you have to say Pytest and the file name Pytest underscore example1.py. Okay, let's run it. Okay, here is the output. Oh, it says the file not found because my Pytest are written in a folder Pytest. I need to change the folder. Okay, I have changed the folder and now I can run the code once again. Yeah, here is the full output. Let's scroll up and see the output. We gave the syntax. Test session starts. It gives me what is my platform, which file is there, and so forth. Okay, and there were two tests. What were the two tests? This was my first test. Define test1 is my first test function. Define test2 is my second test function. The green dot is saying it is true. The F is saying the second was false. Okay. Failure. Which test failed? Test underscore 2 function has failed. Define test2 assert, and this is where an assertion error has come up. Okay. So this is where the failure has been encountered. After assert true condition, this print statement got executed because this assert was true. Note, important thing. This dot is for the first function. For this assert, there is no green dot because this is a function which is a test function. You are testing a scenario and this test function has failed. Well, first condition was true. It does not say that it was true. After that, there was one more condition. We were trying to test one more scenario. Just imagine you are testing multiple scenario of an application. Scenario 1 was success. Scenario 2 was failure. That entire application, that entire module is a failure. So this is F. Okay, coming back. After assert true, this assert is false, so we don't get the print after assert false condition. This will not get printed because the moment there is a assert false, it throws an error and it comes out of the function. So you get an assertion error. The message is printed. If there is a false, then this message gets printed. Okay. Finally, you see a summary. One test has failed, one has passed, and this is the outcome. Okay, this was a quick example to understand the assert keyword and how it is used. Now let's take a practical example. This is one small practical application. We will see more practical applications in coming videos, but this is just to get you started. Assume you have written some function, and here I have written a function. I have named it amb.py is the file in which I have written a function, average monthly balance calculator. So basically this function is a calculator for average monthly balance. It takes an input for which bank account you want to do the calculation and for which month you want to do the calculation. All your logic will come here. To keep things simple, I have not put any business logic. I simply return one value. Ideally, this value will be computed by the business logic, which will execute on the input parameters. But here you assume you have written some function and you want to check whether the code has been correctly done or not. The person who has explained you the logic has given you some test cases, and the test cases are, if you have implemented the logic correctly, then for this account number for this particular month, this is year month format 2011 April, the average monthly balance would be this much. For this account number for the May month, the average monthly balance will be this much. If you have implemented the function properly, for this given input, you should be having these values. Now, in a manual testing, what you will do? In a manual testing, you will invoke this function with the parameters and you will check whether for this parameter I got this value. If yes, in Excel or in Notepad, you will make a tick. Yes, it is giving correct output. Then you will give this input, and if it gives you correct output, you will put tick. Both the test cases has passed. Here there are only 2 scenarios, but there can be 20 scenarios. You will have to do it manually. Now assume the person who has wrote this code has written the business logic and everything is correct, but the code takes 3 minutes to execute. So code is taking too long a time to execute. So someone else now does optimization of this code. Someone has done optimization of this code. As a manual testing process, the 20 test scenarios will have to be tested again manually. That is where monotonous work can be automated using Pytest. In Pytest, what we will have to do? We'll have to write a small function. We import this module. This function is in AMB Python file. We import the function. What are the test scenarios? All the test scenarios we will parameterize. So here we use parameterize decorator of Pytest. All of these test scenarios, there are 3 parameters: account number, month ID, balance. These 3 parameters are for this test cases. Okay, these 3 parameters we'll put all the test conditions for this account, for this month, what should be the balance, for this account, this month, what should be the balance. And we now define our test scenario, test function. We will pass these three parameters. We'll take these three parameters as input. We will call the function by passing the two parameters which the function requires. We get the output. This output we will compare with the output which we expect. And if the output is matching, we will say assert true. If the output is not matching, we will say assert false. Now here, if you have 10 scenarios, each scenario will be one execution of this test function. For each execution, you will get true, false, depending upon whether the output is matching or whether the output is not matching. Okay, now let's go ahead, call this function. The code is simple. This is the entire code. You can pause the video, type the syntax. This is a simple function where I have written nothing, just some dummy logic, is dummy statements I have put here to say logic comes here, and simply returning one hard-coded value. The objective is to demonstrate the usage of Pytest. And now we will call the Pytest function. This is example 2. I replace 1 by 2, execute it. There were two scenarios. One has passed, one has failed. Let's go and see the full output. Pytest 2, the first one has passed, second one has failed, and it says collected 2 items. The 2 items it has collected because there were 2 test scenarios which we gave here. Automatically the loop will get executed. We don't have to worry about it. As we saw the definition of Pytest framework, it is a framework to easily write code, test scenarios, automate and execute the test scenarios, and it nicely gives you the output, which test scenario has passed and which has failed. Okay, all this output which you can see is in the console. However, Pytest can generate fancy HTML outputs also. There are lots of options which are there in Pytest module. We will keep exploring those options in our upcoming video. Till then, thank you, bye bye. And if you feel you are deriving some value from our videos, we sincerely request you to like the video, share. In case you have not subscribed to our channel, I sincerely request you to subscribe to our channel. Thank you.